Hi, everyone. This is Caroline with the Expat Interviews, Thriving Abroad, where I get the unique opportunity to go all around the world and meet the most amazing people who are living their best lives, thriving abroad, and in the process doing amazing things. And I know I say this with every guest because it is true, but I'm really excited to share with you someone today who, when you hear her story, you're just going to be like, wow, yes, I can do this. Heather, thank you so much for joining me today. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
So Miss Heather is an expat currently living in Cambodia. And I'm going to let her, share her beginnings and how she got there with you. But wow, you're in a place that we never hear about on the expat experience list. So where are you from originally?
Well, I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and I lived around a couple different places across the states. I lived in California for a while, and I lived on the East Coast in New Jersey, and I just never really felt like I was able to get anywhere. I felt like I was kind of running on a hamster wheel. So at one point, I just decided that I wanted to try something different. I saw in some of the groups where there were people who are living abroad, and I'm like, you know what, I can do that too. And that's when I kind of started piecing things together so I could get out.
Yeah. So was Cambodia your first country in Asia? Was that?
Yeah, to be honest, Cambodia was the first country that I had ever gone to outside of the United States. I came straight to Cambodia. Wow. I got my passport and I came to Cambodia. I got offered a job here as a teacher. And I was just really lucky. They paid for everything for me to come over. And I was really nervous, but I decided to just take that jump because I knew that living in the States wasn't for me. I knew there had to be more, like it's so much more in the world. I can't limit myself to this one place. And so I came and I'm so happy. It was the best decision I've ever made.
Well, that's the good part about being an expat. But Cambodia, like what was your well, you didn't have criteria because that was your first, I guess, spot, but what were some of the things that drew your attention? What attracted you to that country?
One of the biggest things, and it's so superficial, weather, because it's always warm here. I was like, okay, and like they don't really have natural disasters or anything. I'm like, okay, so that's cool. I know that there was a lower crime rate here than in a lot of places. The cost of living was a lot lower, and they have a really interesting culture here. And so I was like, okay, I'll give Cambodia a try. Let's see.
And how long has it been now that you've been there?
4 years.
4 years. Well, and I bet it went quickly, right? Usually the time goes so fast when you're living abroad. So Cambodia, the little that I know about the country, it's mostly a Buddhist country, correct? There's a lot of Buddhism there.
A lot of Buddhism and remnants of their like more heavily Hinduism past, their Hindu past. So like you'll see a lot of the different Hindu goddesses and temples and things around as well. And
the language is a language that I guess is only spoken there in that country.
Correct. And the language is called Khmer. It's also what the name of the ethnic group of the people is called, Khmer. And it is very different. Like it's very hard. I'm still not in any ways fluent. I'm barely conversational. And they, like just even the sounds that they have are things that do not exist for us. But it's really interesting. But yeah, this is the only place where you can speak Khmer.
Yeah, yeah. So what about, wow, so many things that I want to ask you. Is there a large expat community there? Because I know you're like near Thailand and Vietnam where there is a huge expat population, but what about there? You're in Phnom Penh in the capital?
Correct. I'm in Phnom Penh, so the expat population here is considerably larger, and there is a large Black expat community. It's mostly made up of West Africans. However, it's not a lot of African Americans, but we were able to integrate right into them very easily here. Like, you know, we all hang out, but there is a larger expat community that's here as well. There are like entire communities like where it's like primarily expats.
No
also.
kidding. Oh, that's interesting. How, okay, so culture, the people, how do they see foreigners? How how accepting are they? I guess as Buddhists, they're kind of passive, right? There's not a lot of culture.
They are quite passive. They're very nice people. They're very friendly. I think they were rated one of the most friendly countries in the world. Like they're very helpful. When I first got here, not understanding any of the language, they were like really willing to go out of their way to make sure that everything was okay. They like foreigners. They really do. You know, it's really comfortable here to be here as a foreigner. They're like, oh, you're from America? Oh, that's so nice. You know, they're great. I really like it here.
And culture-wise, the food, how is the food compared to the US? Because that's all you can really compare it to, per se.
Yeah. So if you've had Thai food or Vietnamese food in the West, then, you know, Khmer food is kind of similar. It's a little bit different. They tend to put a lot of sugar in things, and they use a lot of like fermented fish paste is like the base for a lot of stuff they have. It has a strong taste to it, but it's actually really good. They have a pretty decent cuisine, but I would definitely compare it to the surrounding countries. So if you've had Laotian food or Vietnamese food, you'd
adapt. What has it been like these 4 years? I mean, have you missed living in the US at all? Are there things that, I mean, I know there are probably some things, but I mean, are you there indefinitely? Are you going to be a traveler? What is it like?
Oh, well, living here, it's actually very comfortable because I live in the capital. There are a lot of things that are very westernized. They, especially because the Chinese are developing so heavily here. So there are some things that we have here that we don't have in the States. So it's a lot that's here. I don't really miss anything past the people and relationships that I had in the States, because the only thing that I'm missing out in Cambodia is like McDonald's and Taco Bell, like guilty pleasures type of things. But like there's so many different American chains here and everything. I think a lot of people, when they think about Cambodia, they might think back to like Vietnamese War. They think very provincial, but the capital is very metropolitan. They're still developing, but there's so much here. Like I really haven't missed out on anything. My apartment's very Western. It's a Western neighborhood. It's really nice.
Yeah, I can imagine, because I've seen pictures of other countries too, where I had the impression it was very, you know, third world and below substandard. And you see pictures of other expats that have been there, and you're like, wow, I had no idea that it was such a modern place. So I would imagine that about Cambodia, because I would not imagine that Phnom Penh is like a real Western, has a lot of Western flavor to it. So that's good to know. Okay, so you've been there for 4 years now. Do you find yourself doing things have you picked up any Cambodian habits, anything that they do that you notice, oh my God, I'm really blending in with the culture?
Oh yeah, well, there are certain little expressions that they might have, and just sometimes my husband as well, he's lived here for quite some time, and we'll just end up speaking to each other in Khmer, like kind of doing little like yake, just small things like that. And I learned how to Khmer dance. And so because I do that, like sometimes when certain songs come on, I kind of go on autopilot like them and start dancing. It's cool.
Speaking of which, I noticed you were, tell us about you being on television, and you were on the Cambodian television. You were a star, Miss Star. Tell us about that. Miss Celebrity Heather in Cambodia. What was that all about?
Well, during the pandemic, when the pandemic started and we started going on lockdown, I started a TikTok. And with my TikTok, I started doing little skits and dances and lip syncing to Khmer songs and different things. And they were like just so impressed that this foreigner was like taking an interest in their culture. Like they love it when other people appreciate their culture. And so they were like, oh, that's so cool. And then slowly and surely that started to blow up. I started getting more attention from different people. And like to date, right now, I'm just below 300K followers on TikTok.
No
And so,
way. Wow.
and so because of my TikTok, I was invited onto one of their largest shows on their national television. It's on My TV, Like It or Not. And so that was amazing.
Look at you. You went all the way over there to be a superstar, a celebrity. That's amazing. That's so cool. Something that I like to ask my guests, and I feel like it's important for those that are watching. What are some of the things that you would recommend for someone who is considering moving abroad, making a life? You know, for you, it seemed like it was easy. I'm sure that you had in the 4 years, you've had some rough moments. I mean, we all do. You know, they might have been brief or they might have been long, they might have been traumatic, but we all do experience some negativity in just adapting and just living. But what advice would you give to someone who, you know, might be considering a transition? Why Cambodia? Why move? Why do it?
Well, if you have to, first of all, just really be honest with yourself about why it is that you want to move. For myself, I kind of felt like that was what I needed to get my freedom. If you want to go because you want to have fun, you want to do something, you need to do some research and find places where you'll be able to get those things that you're actually looking for. And when it just really comes down to it, if you feel like you do have the basics of what you want, you might have to just jump and not be so worried. Sometimes we can worry ourselves like way too much before a move and think, oh my God, do I have enough money? Oh my God, you know, like is everything gonna be okay? I need to get this set. Sometimes you have to just move on it. Like get your basic ducks in a row. You don't have to have every detail figured out, because once you move into a different culture anyway, all of that you planned is going out of the window. So you need to just go ahead and just take that leap and take a leap of faith and kind of go for it sometimes.
I think that's what we all do, you know, but it's not that easy. I guess sometimes it's easier said than done for a lot of people, that unknown, that, you know, because Cambodia, you know, and you're the perfect example that, you know, there are others that are living there. You've had a great experience. So I'm so excited to be able to share your story and share a country that we don't always think about. As far as, you know, going and making a, you know, a quiet life, a peaceful life, a country that is mostly Buddhist, I'm going to assume is a much more peaceful country than if you have like a whole different mix of religions. And your, you know, your lifestyle is going to be different. So you mentioned you're a grammar, TikTok. You didn't say grammar. Are you on the gram also? I guess you would be. Are you a grammar? Instagram?
I am at heat seeking _ travel. But yeah, mainly I'm on TikTok, and it's the same, heat seeking travel.
Okay. So if anyone wants to reach out to you for maybe more information, or they just want to follow your amazing journey, we'll put the links below for folks to check you out. And you know, I want to thank you so much for sharing this story. I kind of asked you a little bit earlier, is this it for you? Do you see yourself maybe going on to another country, or are you kind of settled in and you're loving where you are right now?
Well, I feel like at the moment I'm very comfortable with where I am in Cambodia, but I am a type of person that I do have a little bit more of a wanderlust. I think that I probably will eventually move on, but as for now, I'm pretty comfortable until I finally make that decision.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Heather. We look forward to following your adventures in Cambodia, and be blessed, and just enjoy your life.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.